The last time that I wore this shirt, I gotta tell you guys, I fitted a lot better before than now. And I'm not saying this just for some weird weight loss flex. I'm actually saying it because it's a part of a little bit of a story. There are a lot of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game that aren't satisfied with the weight that they have. People that strive and want to get to a certain weight, probably even get that summer body to get the ladies or gentlemen or whatever you're interested in, and you might not be able to reach your goal this summer. I have something to say to you guys. Don't give up. It's not a destination, it's a journey. However long it took for you to gain that weight, you can pretty much guarantee it won't take 2 weeks to get it all off. If you keep on striving for greatness, I promise you, you will get there. Now, what does that have to do with Yu-Gi-Oh, Cali? Well, not much, but I can tell you guys, a part of that weight just so happened to contain the top staples and hand traps of the May 2019 format. And today, I'm going to be sharing you guys what are the best staples and hand traps for the May 2019 format, like I just said. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, they're going to destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, go hit that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. Also want to give a special thanks to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. And if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, see those gains that I be getting, and also just see me in a different perspective, then go ahead and follow me on Instagram, and I'll leave the link down below in the description. Without further ado, I present to you the top staples and hand traps for the May 2019 format. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to be separating this video into 2 different sections. First, talking about the best hand traps of the format, as well as then talking about the best staples. So if you guys are looking for a specific part, then I'll leave timestamps down below in the description. The first hand trap we are going to be talking about hits so many decks across the board, and that's why people refer to it as one of the best hand traps of the format. I mean, it has been relevant for almost 2 straight years, and on top of that, its price has only gotten cheaper and cheaper with every coming reprint. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is a really good card, and it hits so many matchups across the board like I said before. All of the tier 1 decks fear it, even Solomon Great. Now having to play cards like either Pot of Desires for you budget players or Signet Mining, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, no matter how you want to put that neg in the graveyard or your bandit zone, is going to come and get you. Against decks like Thunder Dragon, well, you have a plethora of options. Not only is hitting Guard Dragon LP a really good play, but stopping cards like Sekka's Light or their Melody of the Dragon Awakening are solid as well. There's also stopping Thunder Dragon Roar, but yeah, that's one of those limelight plays that you don't always get an opportunity to do, or at least I never feel that I have Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring out those opportune times. Some other decks that this card can hit are Orcust, because, you know, Orcust Harp Horror does special summon from the deck, as well as Nightmare Mermaid brings out your Orcust Nightmare, which is also another target. This card hits so many decks across the board, it is just insane. Do not sleep on Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, even though I'm pretty sure nobody is sleeping on it. The next card reminds me of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. It's not Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, everyone, but this card is so criminally underrated, it always gets overlooked. Plot twist, we're in a format where the graveyard is even more reliant than ever, and everyone is playing Called by the Grave. So cards like Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion will probably get overlooked still, but it's a card that you shouldn't sleep on. Not only does it prevent your opponent from Called by the Grave in your previous hand trap, it also has very good matchups against all of the tier 1 decks. Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion stops your opponent from playing Thunder Dragons. Yeah, just about all of the good ones. No Thunder Dragon Hawk, none of that. Just, yeah. Quit it out, all right, no more. Against the Solomon Great matchup, it has an opportunity to stop Sunlight Wolf from getting some of those critical cards from the graveyard to your hand. Against Orcust, do I really have to say what it does against Orcust? It's pretty good against Orcust. Nobody wants to see Dengrisu to their side of the field. I hope I'm saying that card's name right. And Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion can kind of make that happen for you. Don't sleep on Ghost Bell, ladies and gentlemen. It's a card that's really good and did receive a reprint in Dual Power. I think it's about $8 right now. I definitely have a playset of mine before it's too late. Artifact Lancia is easily the most powerful side deck card in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. Almost every player is side decking Artifact Lancia, and for good good reason. It completely shuts down two of the main decks of the format. Being able to completely lock out Thunder Dragons from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As well as preventing Orcus from popping off with their plays, Artifact Lancia is just straight up good. And while it might not be good against Sky Striker, in the Sky Striker matchup, using Artifact Lancia or having it inside of your deck and using it, you can actually put those spell cards that were set by multi-roll back into the graveyard for your multi-roll to set back to your side of the field. I haven't slept on Sky Strikers being a very powerful deck. Yes, Ash Blossom and Ghost Bell still hit that strategy, and I apologize for forgetting mentioning it. I hope I can make up for it right now, because yes, Artifact Lancia is stupid good right now, and it hits two of the decks, not only where it hurts the most, but it completely shuts them down for an entire turn. DD Crow is slightly more versatile than Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Why do you guys ask? Well, Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion has to be activated directly in response to the card's activation. DD Crow has no such restriction. You can just discard it from your hand to banish any of your cards in your opponent's graveyard. So yeah, DD Crow does have that slight edge. Now, where DD Crow does have its downfall is, you kind of don't want to use this against Thunder Dragon players, as they'll gain the graveyard effect, and more often than not, the graveyard effect is exactly what they want to get. Also against Orcus, if they have Orchestrated Babel on their side of the field, well, all those Orcus monsters become quick effects, so you could just be discarding DD Crow just for cause. A lot of times, DD Crow does have the exact same similar situation, being able to DD Crow an opponent's Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage, or being able to hit some of their critical cards, like whatever they are trying to revive with Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. It can be a very valuable option into the format. Plus, let's face it, DD Crow looks way better than Ghost Girl and Haunted Mansion. I mean, you have a cybernetic crow, DD Crow. You have a cybernetic crow with like the little eye, like it's so cool. And then with Ghost Bell, you have, I mean, Necromancy Girl. I mean, hey, if you guys are into that, effect negation is king right now. Being able to negate an opponent's monster effect probably is the most satisfying thing you can do in Yu-Gi-Oh! And normally stymies their play and prevents them from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That's why, ironically, the best card or the best hand trap in Yu-Gi-Oh! We don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Effect Veiler, upon his discarding, can negate the activation of a monster effect for the entirety of the turn. Now, the reason why this card is so good is because, unlike Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, you don't have to activate Effect Veiler as a direct response to the card's activation. Later on in the chain link, if you just decided to, hey, I'm just gonna ditch this Effect Veiler on that opponent's monster, you can. And that's what gives Effect Veiler a little bit more versatility over some of the other hand traps on this list. You also couple that with the fact that Effect Veiler is a level 1 light tuner monster. If you are playing the correct deck, it can come up that you can normal summon this card to your side of the field, use it for a synchro play, or it's Chaos Fuel for your monsters like Chaos Dragon, Levianeer, or your Blackluster Soldier. Effect Veiler is really good. It is the best hand trap in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. But that doesn't stop any other hand trap that I mentioned before from being viable, or any of the other hand traps that are on the outside looking in, being niche cards against certain decks. The last hand trap that we are going to talk about is literally a hand trap. Infinite Impermanence can negate a monster on the field, and you can activate it from your hand if you control no cards on your side of the field. Now, both Effect Veiler and Infinite Impermanence have their trade-offs. Obviously, Infinite Impermanence is terrible with Thanos. But in the same note, Infinite Impermanence has a set monster effect too, or a set effect. Not only does it negate a monster effect on the field when it's activated when it's set face down, it can negate a spell or trap card in the same column. This is really good for players that just don't remember where Infinite Impermanence is activated and decide to activate a spell card in that column. All you have to do is remind them, and you can assure that a judge will be called later on down the line, because they'll want to take that play back, and you'll probably want to play hardball. Infinite Impermanence also doesn't have the restriction of being restricted to only the main phase. You can freely activate Infinite Impermanence whenever you want, which is why a lot of players choose Infinite Impermanence over Effect Veiler, which is warranted. But don't sleep on either of these cards. Effect negation is always king, and Infinite Impermanence does have that effect negation, ladies and gentlemen. Now that we are done with the hand traps, let's get on to those staples. I have Cold by the Grave being probably the best staple in Yu-Gi-Oh! Why? Well, because it counters every single hand trap on the list that I just mentioned before, barring Infinite Impermanence, by banishing a card in your opponent's graveyard that monster's effects are negated. And as you guys know, all hand traps have to be discarded from their hand to the graveyard as cost. So that's where Called by the Grave comes up. It also has an insane matchup against every meta relevant deck. Heck, using Called by the Grave to banish the Sky Striker Ace Kagari may not have the exact same implications, seeing that, you know, they only have one Kagari, but being able to rid your opponent of their best monster normally gets the job done. Against Solomon Great, banishing Sunlight Wolf, which they will have in their graveyard, is pretty good. And also against Danger, Thunder Dragon, or Thunder, whatever that you want to call the deck, banishing their important Thunder Dragon monsters prevents them from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At certain times too. Against Orcust, you can almost take your pick at whatever you want to banish. You're going to get away with something. As long as that Babel is on the field, you're going to have free reign to banish whatever you want in their graveyard and be okay. Twin Twisters has seen a spike in competitive play since the last list and the new set. Why? Well, because Orcust love to have those Phantom Knight trap cards, Fogblade, to negate your monster effect. Solomon Great still has those Solomon Great cards, whether it's War Rage, to disrupt you. Sky Strikers is still one of the best decks of the format, and while Danger Thunder Dragon doesn't set any spell or trap cards, they can definitely benefit from being able to discard a monster like Danger Jackalope or their Danger Nessie to be able to destroy the opponent's spell and trap cards. The best thing about Twin Twisters is that Mystic Mine is definitely a deck. Unfortunately, players like to be glue eaters and they really want to play this deck. Well, Twin Twisters in the main board doesn't necessarily solve the problem, but in some situations, I mean, it's better to be prepared and then get countered than to be countered without even being prepared. Mystical Space Typhoon can slot itself right by Twin Twisters for almost the exact same reasons. The only difference? Twin Twisters, high risk, high reward. Mystical Space Typhoon, minimal risk, minimal reward. Whereas discarding a card from Twin Twisters can end up terribly wrong. There's so many disruptions in today's metagame, and a lot of times losing that card from the hand can cost you the game. Mystical Space Typhoon is a little bit different. Not only is it a one-for-one trade-off, which isn't as good as Twin Twisters at times, but you don't have to discard that card from your hand. Mystical Space Typhoon is an excellent alternative to strategies that don't want to lose that advantage, possibly don't want to lose cards in their hand, but still want to address Mystic Mind decks, as well as be able to hit those one-of spell cards that both Orcust and Solomon Great play. One of the best cards in the game reminds me of income tax season, ladies and gentlemen. I bet you guys are wondering why, because every single time I see people get income taxes and spend all of their money on cars, jewelry, clothes, furniture, only to be at the end of the year selling those same things just so they can pay the rent. Well, Super Polymerization draws a very striking similar comparison. Everybody wants to build that insanely powerful board that nobody can break, and Konami has done an excellent job at giving us cards to address it. Now that we have another card at Super Polymerization to address that super board that you're making, do you still want to make that super board? Not only on top of that, Super Polymerization can't even be responded to, and I get to use both of your cards for free for a fusion summon from my card. The odds of Super Polymerization backfiring on the player's user, minimal, very minimal. And the odds of you paying for that, very high. So yes, Super Polymerization is easily one of the better cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Being able to turn a situation that seemed unwinnable into a situation where your opponent just gave up tons of advantage to only feed you. The last card we are going to talk about on this list is a card that got kind of flack for me saying that it was underrated. Not a lot of people were looking forward to it. Hell, I've seen quite a few times where people were giving them away. But Crackdown is really good. You can negate a monster face up on the field, and you can take control of it. This provides so many situations. I've already told you guys effect negation is king. And cards like Mind Control have already been really good in Yu-Gi-Oh! So you're telling me there's a card that combines both of them in the form of a trap card, which doesn't make it overpowering, but also gives me the ability to not only negate an opponent's monster effect during their turn, but take their monster from them, preventing them from making further plays with it. Crackdown is really good. It's a card that I feel anti-meta decks love even more than meta decks, but it helps you get a little bit of balance with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Format because it does help those lower tier decks before it helps the higher tiered. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, and if you really did, consider joining our Patreon where we have so many awesome rewards. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.